Can you vote for yourself in the leadership group?
I think there's an option, but geez, I'd be surprised if anyone's doing it. I'd like to find out though if anyone has.
That should be a fine.
Yeah, we might look into it. That might be my first point of call as a leader. I'll be like, right, show me the votes.
Is it anonymous? Is it like Survivor?
I think it is anonymous. Yeah, I reckon. Obviously, we haven't got the feedback yet, but I reckon the feedback that we do get, there's an option to be, but. Some blokes might put their name, under certain comments that they made to not be anonymous, but I think for the most part, yeah.
It's not like a campaign, is it? Like, you're like, I want to be...
No, not quite like that. No, just a standard little teamwork sort of email, I guess. That's how they do it these days.
Congratulations. What does it mean to you, Isaac, to be in the leadership group?
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously a massive honour, to sort of be part of a elite group of individuals and people and players for a great club is, something I don't take lightly. But super happy to be part of it, and the feedback throughout the whole process has been very humbling. So enjoying it so far.
Was that when you made the switch a year ago? Did you sort of have leadership aspirations, or is that something that sort of just like formed over the past year or so?
I wouldn't say aspirations. I think it's just one of those things where you either are or you aren't, and I feel like. For as long as I can remember, I've sort of been a natural leader in some ways, whether it's through my voice, or just stuff as simple as energy and trying to influence through just creating a happy, fun environment. But, like I sort of mentioned before, it is, an honour to sort of be officially part of it, I guess.
What has some of that feedback been? You sort of maybe touched on some of it there with your voice, but what else have people said as to why you've been promoted?
Yeah, I guess a lot of it sort of has been around, energy and, sort of the vibe I bring, I guess, as a player, and it's something that I pride myself on. I like to come into the footy club and, try and have as much fun as I can, but equally work as hard as I can. And, obviously, as a leader, regardless of whether it's now or since I got here, try to bring others with me to do that as well. And I think the boys appreciate that, and, hence maybe why I'm here.
How did you find out, and what was your reaction?
We just found out this morning. We just had a meeting, and then they went through the group, and obviously the boys who were in it last year were up there, and then me and Filthy popped up, and was surprised, but at the same time, there's been some conversations throughout the last few weeks about it, and how I felt about possibly being there. But my answer was pretty simple, and I said that I'd be honoured to be a part of it.
What changes for you now?
Honestly, I think nothing. Like I mentioned before, it's something that either you are or you aren't. I think I've been voted in there for a reason. So I think it's, a matter of just keep doing what I'm doing. And, there might be a few different formalities like meetings and stuff like that, which I obviously didn't have last year. But for the most part, honestly, just keep doing what I've been doing and, trying to bring that energy.
Alex Newborn is obviously in there as the vice captain. What does it mean to you that obviously both coming in around the same time, that you both sort of had that opportunity to use your voice as guys that have come into the club in the last year or two?
Yeah, I think for him, he was a standout from the moment we walked through the door, and obviously you guys would have met him as well. He's just such an impressive human being, and I think that flows onto his footy, the way he goes about his business, game day and through the week. No surprise that he's our vice captain, and and was a leader from the get-go. So, super pumped to be in there with him. Should be good fun.
What makes Filthy a good leader? I feel like he brings the vibes a lot. Is that part of it? Is he a vibes officer? Or what?
Yeah, I think similar to me, to be honest. I think the feedback that he would have got is he's just such a happy person. He'll try and have the most fun at anyone at the footy club. But equally, he's obviously a superstar of the competition, and the way he leads on game day through competing, and his directional voice as well is up there with some of the best in our team. So, another no-brainer to have him there, and I think he's going to be in there for a very long time.
It's only your second year at the club. Have you always felt at home, or is this kind of vote like that vote of confidence that you really belong here in Adelaide?
Nah, honestly, I felt at home within a couple of weeks here. I think. This football club and the people within it welcome in with open arms, and immediately I just felt like, this is my place and these are my people, and there hasn't been a day where I haven't loved being here.
Have you held leadership titles at all through juniors or other sports or anything?
Oh, in Broken Hill, I was captain of a few sides. I'm not sure if that would go on the resume for an AFL club, but we'll nudge it in there. But yeah, I think since being in the AFL, not officially, but you know, I think it's just something that I've always naturally done. You know, use my voice on game day and throughout the week. But yeah, not something I make an effort to do by any means.
How I'm sure Riley O'Brien's leadership has probably been tested a little bit in the last few weeks in playing with the twos. All we ever hear about is how great he is behind the scenes, but how's he sort of carried himself in what I imagine has been a challenging pre-season for him?
Yeah, for sure. But you know, I think him as a leader is the reason. The way he's handled himself is the reason why he's a leader. You know, despite being challenged, it hasn't changed the way he's gone about things. And you know, I think every time Bird has been challenged, and like in recent times, he just responds really, really well. And you know, he played a good game in Port Augusta, another good one on the weekend, I believe. But you know, his attitude throughout the week doesn't wave at all. He's a super impressive guy.
How's the hammy?
It's good. It's good. It's come along nicely. I think, you know, this will be my last week away from the main group, and then we'll join the boys on Monday for, you know, hopefully normal for the rest of the year.
Was it just a low grade?
Yeah, just a grade 1. So I think it'll be 3 weeks in total away from the main group. So a nice little freshen up before the big stuff.
Do you feel like you're over your soft tissue stuff now? I'm sure every time you get one, you must be like, not again.
Well, I think I'm just going to be one of those players that I don't think he's ever going to have a clean year, which is fine. But I think, you know, last year I obviously missed 6 weeks in pre-season, but played almost every game, was managed for that little one. But, you know, I think hopefully it's just the same story this year, you know, have a little freshen up the last 3 weeks. And then, you know, if I'm in a spot to play every game this year, then, you know, I'll take that every day of the week.
Why is that? What is it about your physical makeup that makes you someone that is going to have to carry that?
Oh, I wish I was smart enough to tell you. Can't tell you what's going on mechanically, but I think it's honestly just a bit of position stuff as well. I think on that wing, you know, I can run up and down that thing like a headless chook at times and clock up some pretty easy sprint meters. And I think over a summer, you know, sprint meters take their toll at some stage, and, you know, Maccas and, you know, our high performance stuff try and manage myself and all the other boys as best they can. But, you know, I think there's just, you know, 4 or 5 players at every club that are just in that sort of little weird sort of window where, you know, they're always on edge, and yeah, I'm one of them.
How much of that
was saying? Sorry.
How much of that is knowing your body as well? We saw sort of during last season there were times at trainings where you were managed a bit more than other players. Do you have that license with the physios to be like, I'm not sure, there's a bit of awareness or anything?
Yeah, I think I do. I think anyone with a history of them knows their body well enough to make the call when they need to. But I think it obviously can't just come unwarranted. So I think, you know, you have to establish that trust between physios, high performance staff, you know, gym staff and like that to, you know, be on the same page. But, you know, thankfully we all are.
Is that why you get, it seems like you get maybe the competition high, like most rub downs during a game?
No, that's cramp, actually. I'm a serial cramper as well. So, yeah, tell you what, there's not much right with me at the moment, but that's purely for cramps.
Okay.
Not to take away from your own leadership announcement today, but Tex mentioned this morning a couple of young guns that could be part of the group moving forward. Who do you see, like, maybe coming into the leadership group in the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I dare say those names would have sort of been Maxi Marclany, you know, Josh Worrell, you know, Mark Keane as well. You know, I'm actually not sure how young he is, but he's younger than me, so we'll call him young. But, you know, those 3 are just, you know, exceptional players. And I think their leadership style is, you know, a lot of on-field stuff, the way they go about it. You know, 3 of the most competitive players at our club, and I think across the league as well. So I won't be surprised if we see them, you know, even throughout this year, they'll filter in through some leadership stuff as well. But, you know, next year and the years beyond, I reckon they'll be around the mark.
It's a bit weird saying about a player like Max who's almost not even 22 yet.
Yeah, it is just crazy. I could say that for so many boys. I think that's why I get confused about so many blokes' ages here, because I assume that Max is like my age because of how he goes about it. I assume Rash and Filthy, you know, are 26, 27. But yeah, they're still so young, and I think it's you know, it's obviously exciting for fans, but equally we all get excited about it here, which is, you know, it's good fun.
I think Tech's even anointed Max as a potential future captain. What is it about Max, in your perspective, that would you know, have his name thrown up like that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, as a person, I think you've obviously got to be a good person to be a good captain at the end of the day, and he's one of the best in the business. You know, can't fault him on the way he goes about, you know, treating players, staff, and, you know, the way he handles himself. And then on field, obviously a super competitor, you know, incredibly selfless as well. I think, you know, the role he plays for us, sometimes he just has to lock down an opposition forward's best player, and he might not get many licks of it, but I think internally we know what he does for us. And yeah, I agree with Tex. I think a lot of boys will, that he might be the man one day.
Does it speak to how deep the leadership is at the moment, that someone that potentially might be your next captain isn't even in the leadership group right now?
Yeah, for sure. And I think Nixie mentioned it this morning, actually. I think, you know, that group could probably be 10, 12, but obviously that probably won't fly these days. So, you know, for a player like Maxi, who's only 22, he's going to be in the system for another, 12 years maybe, who knows. And, you know, he's probably going to be a leader for all 12 of them beyond next year, I reckon. So, yeah, we'll see how he goes.
Is that depth in leadership, does that feel like quite unique to the club? Like, Giants had some great leaders that you would have seen there, like, you know, Woods and Davis and Greens, but does it, like, the amount that you have here, does that feel like quite unique to Adelaide, do you think?
It does feel unique, to be honest, but I think the Giants a bit the same as well. You know, some incredible people there, and the youth that they have as well. I think we see a lot of similarities here, but there's no doubt that this group as a whole is very unique, but that 19 to 24-year-old age bracket has got some seriously special plays in it, and some incredible people too.
Oh, they're completely unrelated, but Origin a couple of weeks ago, if SA get the chance, obviously Broken Hill's in a bit that no man's land where you kind of feel like you're SA, but you're actually New South Wales.
New South Wales, yeah.
Will you be a bit gutted that you don't get the chance to play for SA if that comes around, that chance?
No, I won't be gutted. I think hopefully one day there's an Allies team in there, and hopefully I'm getting a kick around the time of selection. But no, I think I'd feel a bit weird. I don't think I've ever been tied to SA for anything footy related. Basketball related back in the day, but you know, footy's always been New South Wales or Allies related. You know, if there ever comes a time where I'm around the mark for an Allies game, I'd love to be part of it.